What are the best weapons for PvP in Demon's Souls Remake? I'll break this down and give you the ranking of the top 7 best weapons in Demon's Souls Remake for PvP. However, the best weapons and the rankings actually differ if you are discussing duels versus invasions. So, I will have 2 separate lists, but this video will be regarding duels. These rankings, thoughts, reasonings will be applicable to soul levels 90 through 125 and above. Lower level PvP is full of wonky shenanigans, and the damage output is so high that almost any weapon can be powerful. Even the Dragon Iron Knuckle does super strong damage at the lower levels. Many fully upgraded weapons will 1 or 2 shot opponents, so we won't be discussing low level PvP. With that cleared up, let's begin with the format of this video. I was fortunate enough to have one of the best Demon's Souls Remake PvPers I've ever fought, MmLuberGames, give me some feedback for this video. So you'll be getting not only my own thoughts, but some of the thoughts from the PvP champ himself. I'll be going over the best weapons in duels with a couple honorable mentions, then dive into the top 7. Each weapon I will give some overall thoughts, effective methods using the weapon, and the reasoning for its ranking grade. I will also include an ease of use scale determining how difficult it is to use this weapon in competitive PvP, with very easy, easy, medium, hard, and very hard being the categories. Best weapons in Demon's Souls Remake PvP duels. Let's talk about 2 honorable mentions. First off, we have the Murden Hammer. This is a very solid weapon choice in duels, which has combo potential, range, speed, hyper armor, and build utility. What do I mean? When using this weapon two-handed, the second R1 has massive range and will hit a true combo into the third R1. You can also combo the R2 attack with a follow-up R1-R1. This R2 attack has hyper armor and also has 2 hitboxes, making it difficult to punish without a quick or ranged attack. The attacks are very fast, and on low latency fights it is almost impossible to backstab a Murden Hammer user. The Murden Hammer is also dealing blunt type of damage, which guard breaks shields much easier than standard type of damage, putting it well above the Halberd or War Scythe. It goes very well with Faith builds using the Blessed upgrade path, giving a massive 6 HP per second regeneration. This weapon also has good tracking on all of its attacks and an effective dash attack. The amount of pressure on shield users is one of the highest of any weapon in the game. Why is it only an honorable mention? There are weapons you'll see on the list that completely outclass the Murden Hammer. It has some glaring weaknesses, such as limited attack options. Oftentimes, it can be set up parried on regular R1 attacks or protected parry with a running attack. Also, you are able to block an R1 attack and push before the second R1 attack comes out, completely destroying one of the Murden Hammer's greatest strengths. While the second R1 attack two-handed has amazing range, the first R1 is very short. Many other weapons have longer range on their first R1 attack, leading to a range disadvantage. Ease of use, medium. The next honorable mention goes to the Baby's Nail. This is a very strong support weapon, as it does not cause much physical damage per hit. It's a weapon that plagues an enemy, which causes damage over time, as well as a massive stamina regeneration penalty. I use this weapon for the stamina regeneration penalty, not the plague damage over time. An effective way to use this weapon is to get close to an opponent with either a dash attack or a shield up and walk into their face. The dagger attack speed is the quickest in the game and will hit first if you both attack at the same time. If an opponent blocks your first R1 attack, you can actually R1 spam while they block and not have to worry about being parried due to them not being able to parry in that block animation. They must roll away to escape or let go of their shield and take damage. However, on high latency, this may not work and you may get parried. In order to plague an opponent, it will depend on their plague resistance. If an opponent has no plague resistant armor, weapons, or luck investment, this will typically plague an opponent in 1 or 2 hits, even if they block the hits with a shield. But as Luber mentions, quote, "The uncertainty about the Baby's Nail being a top weapon is trivialized due to an opponent pulling out the old ragged gear or even a piece of gloom armor if their equip load allows it." End quote. He is certainly correct. When an opponent equips those pieces of armor, it will pretty much negate the effectiveness of the Baby's Nail. While it does have the quick moveset that all daggers share, due to the plague resistant armor, it does not get a top spot on our list. Ease of use, easy. Now let's finally dive into our top 7 of the best weapons in Demon's Souls Remake PvP for duels. Number 7 goes to the Dragon Bone Smasher and the Greatsword. The most powerful strength build weapon is a Dragon Bone Smasher, and it does not disappoint in the damage it will put out. This weapon does the single highest damage with standard attacks than any other weapon in Demon Souls. It's truly a monster, and whether you two-hand it with 66 strength or one-hand it with 30 strength, it will absolutely rock your opponent. Now, the Greatsword is a weapon with the exact same moveset as the DBS. However, it matches the DBS's position on our list due to the increased build utility. An upgraded Blessed Greatsword hits very hard and has massive critical damage, but also adds a powerful 6 HP per second regeneration, giving longevity to the fight for the Greatsword user. Both weapons can make opponents fly, pancake, or dead angle very nicely. Although these weapons two-handed may increase the weapon's AR, the moveset is inferior to its one-handed counterpart. Yes, I know the two-handed dash attack is a very fast and great dead angling attack, but outside of that two-handed dash attack, you're going to get in trouble. The lack of hyper armor on standard attacks make it difficult to get attacks off. Using this weapon one-handed with a shield up will allow much more versatility. The dash attack is fast and has a surprisingly good dead angle hitbox as well. The trick with that is you actually unlock right before you attack your opponent with the dash attack, and you do a 180 on the analog stick. The roll attack is one of the best baits in the game and can give you hyper armor as you punish an aggressive opponent. The threat of a critical damage with backstabs and riposte will make your opponent respect the weapon or take a massive punishment. Whether you two-hand or one-hand these weapons, you will be able to get a guaranteed wake-up on the backstabs. The reason why these amazing Ultra Greatswords are ranked at number 7 is due to the limited move pool they offer in competitive play. Oftentimes, you will accidentally push with this weapon and may be vulnerable for a punish. The standard attacks are parryable, meaning you will have to mix up the attacks and delay them, but with how slow the attacks are, it's quite easy to punish. A patient opponent will be able to take advantage of mistakes and not feel very threatened unless you completely maximize your artillery with this weapon. Ease of use, very hard. Number 6, we have the Night Sword. This very ordinary weapon is highly underestimated in the PvP community. It is very versatile and has all the benefits that the axes and hammers do without any of the downsides. This includes a superior running attack while one-handed that has speed, range, and a horizontal sweep. Overall, the Night Sword has very good range and roll catching ability as well, and it goes hand in hand with a shield better than majority of the other weapons in the game. The two-handed R1 infinite stun locks if the opponent doesn't know how to toggle escape. It can be a very good critical damage with Blessed or Moon upgrade paths, but using the Blessed version will allow HP regeneration, making you a very solid tank. If you are using a Blessed or Moon upgrade path, it's most effective to crit fish with this weapon. Looking for those parries and backstabs while using all the other attacks options as supplementary. The Crushing upgrade path will allow regular hits to do decent damage. With its versatile moveset, it's one of the best weapons to control the field and read your opponent to look for patterns. The Night Sword is a more simplified playstyle than others, but it is quite effective at doing this. If you have the sword one-handed, you have the guaranteed wake-up options after both a backstab and a riposte. The reason this ranks better than the DBS and the Greatsword is due to it not having as many weaknesses. It averages out better than those weapons, essentially not as powerful, but not as vulnerable either. If you spam attacks or thoughtlessly attack, this weapon can be parried quite easily. Therefore, the ease of use is medium. Number 5, the powerful Great Axe. This weapon, whether it's crushing or blessed, hits extremely hard. It should be the second hardest hitting weapon on standard attacks after the DBS. The critical damage is also massive, and counter damage can be destructive with all of its attacks. The Great Axe is a weapon that depends and utilizes hyper armor almost exclusively. Very rarely will you land attacks outside the criticals that are not trades. Therefore, you will take damage using this weapon, and with the Blessed upgrade path, you will have massive HP regeneration to make up for the damage you take. The Great Axe also has the best rolling attack of any weapon in the game. The standard tactic using this weapon is to abuse hyper armor attacks and pressure your opponent with devastating rolling attacks. You will two-hand this weapon 99% of the time. Two-handed attacks can't be parried besides the dash attack. This weapon's roll attack can dead angle turtling players if they have their shields up. If you unlock on your rolling attacks, you can actually minimize your backstab window and trick many players into going for a backstab and punishing them with a rolling attack. The reason for ranking this amazing weapon at number 5 is because the Great Axe can actually counter some of the best setups in the game. However, it does struggle versus strong shield users that are very wary of dead angles. If someone tries to roll attack spam or doesn't unlock the rolling attacks, they will find often they are getting punished with backstabs and or ranged attacks. It takes a very unique playstyle to master this weapon. Therefore, ease of use, hard. Number 4, the Elegant S-Stock. This is a fantastic weapon that gives very high critical damage and great defensive tactics. This is the best weapon to combine with a shield. Not the strongest PvP setup, but combined with a shield, it fully transforms this weapon into a beast. The higher critical damage allows crit fishing to be very solid while being able to defend against most weapons and counterattack with turtle pokes. These turtle pokes have superior tracking to the spears version and offer strong damage with a sharp upgrade. The rolling attack pokes are very fast and good at catching opponents off guard or roll catching. You can also have a fatal S-Stock upgrade for insane crit damage, making this the second highest crit damage weapon in the game. The reason why this weapon is so powerful in duels is due to the lack of heals and ability to slowly dwindle an opponent's health down with a very serious threat of being critted. Being able to block and attack at the same time is an enormous advantage. As the ultimate defensive weapon, you really get to control the battlefield and dictate what happens and when. The reason for the number 4 spot is because it is the best defensive weapon in the game. Unfortunately, the best defense can't beat our next top 3 spots, with the biggest challenge using the S-Stock being your vulnerable backside when you turtle poke, or the risk of being parried after you are turtle poking. Therefore, this weapon, it gets an ease of use, medium. Let's talk about our number 3 spot, which actually goes to both the Claymore and the Northern Regalia. Both of these weapons are in the large sword weapon class and can be used similarly. However, each one has a unique bonus that the other does not in their most effective ways of using them. I'll let Luber's words explain a little bit about the Claymore. Quote, Claymore, particularly Blessed Claymore on Vich Gouged or even regular Vit Faith build, is possibly the most comfy setup in the game. High damage, high regen, high speed, good stagger pressure, good roll catch potential, and tanky on top of it all. The only category where it falls short is recovery speed. You primarily want to use the Claymore two-handed. After landing a hit with the Claymore, or any two-handed large sword for that matter, your opponent is in a tricky situation. If they preemptively roll to avoid the fast follow-up swing, they are vulnerable to being roll caught had you, the Claymore user, chosen to stagger your first R1 instead. But if the opponent decided to wait during the stun, anticipating a staggered R1, that's when they may be vulnerable to the second swing or an even faster action like the shove, provided that you're close enough. The Claymore, due to its length, is also probably the best weapon for dead angling. In my opinion, however, while Claymore is versatile and can fight pretty much anything, it begins to feel weaker when facing the absolute best setups. End quote. Luber is absolutely correct, and the Claymore actually has the longest range on standard R1 attacks in the game, beating the Greatsword and all the spears. Since the Northern Regalia has many of the same perks of the Claymore, it's already an elite weapon. It does lack the range and HP regeneration that the Claymore has, but it makes up for that being the highest critical damaging weapon in the game. On top of that, the Northern Regalia requires very low stat investment, meaning you can pump all the extra points into Vitality. Oftentimes, NR builds will have over 80 Vitality, not to mention guaranteed wake-ups after backstabs and riposte will either kill or nearly kill an opponent even with second chance active. The deadly threat of crits with the NR make HP regenerating faith builds almost irrelevant. Luber says it perfectly, stating, quote, Claymore is better for two-handed play and NR is best one-handed with a shield. They are both strong and, in my opinion, deserving of top 3, but for different reasons, end quote. Absolutely. So, the ease of use for the NR and Claymore is medium. Number 2, we have the Killage. The Killage and other curved swords received a massive boost in the remake, making them one of the better roll-catching weapons available. Its quick speed, strong damage, bleed effect, roll-catching capability, and powerful combo potential make it an absolute monster to deal with in PvP. This is one of the few weapons where R1 spamming may actually be a viable tactic against competitive players in duels. Oftentimes, an opponent cannot deal with the immense pressure and speed the Killage can put out. Even though shields such as the Knight Shield may offer some relief, it will often only allow the blockers to delay the inevitable. They will either block and roll away only to be roll caught, or they will go for a desperate parry. A seasoned Killage user will be aware of this and bait shield users into parrying and punish with a backstab. The Killage has good combo potential using the dash attack into an R2 into an R1 for a 3-hit true combo that does insane damage within seconds. Oftentimes you'll be able to get a 4th hit, and depending on your read and your opponent's response. This combo can be toggle escaped after the first hit. However, due to the speed of the attacks, it's very rare for people to do this even in competitive duels. The Killage easily earns the number 2 spot for its ease of use and overall domination. As strong as the previous weapons are, they are mostly outclassed by the Killage with very limited counter options. Ease of use for the Killage, very easy. Finally, we have the number 1 best weapon in Demon's Souls Remake PvP for Duels. It's actually shared between 2 weapons from differing classes. These weapons tied for the number 1 spot are the Katana and the Large Sword of Searching. Luber explains, quote, Katana is considered to probably be the best weapon in the game when it comes to PvP because of how versatile it is. It has high damage, it's fast, and has long range. You can use the strong setups with it like 2-Cat and of course Shield Cat, which is arguably the best PvP setup in the game. It becomes a wholly different thing when used with a shield. The ability to recover cancel by holding block after swinging allows to almost always be safe, even a whiff, and allow for strong stagger pressure and space control. You also obviously have access to all the useful properties of a shield like the Dark Silver Shield or Night Shield, which is a massive advantage. The reason why I personally place Large Sword of Searching at a shared number 1 spot with Uchi and leave the Killage at number 2 is because while a top tier setup like the Shield Cat is extremely versatile, the Large Sword of Searching's massive range and stamina damage put it above the Killage for him despite the lower damage. Sharing the top spot with the Shield Cat, both setups stand out from the rest, being strong against everything else, even each other. End quote. Luber, again, is correct. Not to mention that the 2-Cat, 1 katana in each hand, setup using the 2 Uchi katanas have a powerful push lock combo that can be toggled on the L1 hit, but not the push. The strong pressure from a quick and powerful dash attack make the Uchi katana not only have the best running attack in the game, but an arsenal of top tier options that don't have any glaring weaknesses or counters. The Uchi also has one of the most consistent and best guaranteed wake-ups in the game after a backstab. What about the other top weapon sharing the number 1 spot? Luber mentioned some good points with the insane range, speed, and stamina damage, but it also has great combo potential, the same as the Killage. The damage is slightly lower than the Killage, but the extra range is considerably noticeable. And if an opponent decides to try and block the Large Sword of Searching, it will quickly be guard broken. This is one terrifying weapon to face in duels. Let's also not forget that while two-handing the Large Sword of Searching, which you will do primarily the time you use it, when you block, it will reduce 70% of the physical damage. That's the same protection as the DBS. You can see lots of reasons why these 2 weapons share the number 1 spot, but the final justification is based on how easy both weapons are to use effectively. They also share the very easy category for ease of use. This wraps up our ranking of the best weapons in Demon's Souls Remake PvP for Duels. Let me know if you agree or disagree with our ranking list. If you disagree, please let me know how you would rank the top weapons and some reasons why. Thanks for watching.